I'll just start off in regards to Anthony and Ryan Kelly. They're both in the protocol. They won't practice today, but they're both progressing well. With that, questions?
Anthony's gotten the ball out of his hands pretty quickly so far, which isn't something you always see with a young quarterback. What do you think that says about?
I think it just shows his preparation, going through his progressions, spending time in the meeting rooms. Jim Bob does a heck of a job with him, along with Cam, and then just walking through it and getting those repetitions over and over and over again. So you try to give him those different looks in practice, give him different looks in walkthroughs, so he knows exactly where to go with the football, and he's getting the ball quick.
There's a few guys like Mahomes generally holds it longer because he's running around and doing something. But in general, is it better to get the ball out of your hands?
I think it depends on the concept. You know what I mean? If you got a quick passing game and it's a quick, drop, yeah, you got to get the ball out too. But there are some shots down the field where you got to hang on to it a little bit to let it develop. So I think it depends on the concept.
Not boxing you in here in any fashion, but not practicing today, still would that theoretically still leave time to pass protocol and play Sunday for guys just in general?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to rely on the doctors for that stuff, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
In general, with Minshew, has been a backup, a starter. It's a simple question, I guess, but the benefit of actually taking reps with a one instead of coming in the first quarter like you did, I mean, how do you, the benefits?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a benefit. Obviously, the timing with the receivers, the offensive line, the protection calls, all those different things, it definitely benefits, going with the ones in practice. But credit to him, I mean, what he does week in and week out to get prepared for games and to do what he did in that game, to come off the bench and have the success he had, it shows how prepared he is. But to get reps with the ones today will be good for him.
QB rep-wise, the fact that Anthony misses all of today, does that hurt him to play on Sunday if he passes the protocol with Gardner getting all of them?
I think it depends. You just got to, talk through things with him still, even though he's not getting the reps, We'll see. We'll see.
Have you talked to Anthony? Do you have a sense for just kind of, I guess, the spirits he's in right now?
Yeah, he's in a good spot. He's in a good spot, and I'll keep those conversations private, but he's in a good spot.
How unique of a challenge is Baltimore from offensively for you guys against there?
Yeah, they do a good job defensively. They mix it up coverage-wise. They bring a lot of pressure, a lot of different looks. They got a really good scheme defensively, so we got to be prepared for everything, right? They might have shown something, 6-7 weeks into last season that they might break out for us. So we got to be prepared, ready to adjust on the sideline and go from there. But it'll be a heck of a challenge for us.
What makes Lamar, he's a dual threat quarterback, obviously. What makes him different than the other premier dual threat quarterbacks in the league?
It's a great question. Yeah, he's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. He can throw it really well, and he can create those big plays with his feet. I think as a runner, he's just so shifty and elusive. You know what I mean? When he's out in the open field, he's got that quick twitch about him, to make guys miss. He's a heck of a football player. So we just got to be on the details defensively, know where he's at, make sure we're prepared from a game plan standpoint to be ready to go.
I mean, he's been an MVP, so maybe this is dumb, but does his passing ability sometimes get kind of overlooked?
Yeah, I think so. Shoot, I think he's a really good passer. You look back over the last couple of years, I don't have the numbers, but he's thrown for a ton of yards in some games. I know people look at him sometimes as a runner, but this guy, he can do it all. He can do it all.
Do you have to do anything differently this week to prepare for his speed? It seems like that's a real elite element of his game.
No, it's a legit thing. Obviously, from a practice standpoint, obviously we got to have a plan there to get that done. But yeah, you really can't create his speed in practice because he is his own guy and he's a special player.
Why was it important for you and the organization to bring Gardner in here? I realize you had him drafted at the time that you brought him in, but why was he an important addition to this team?
I think anytime you have a backup quarterback, I think one of the big things for myself personally that I look at is, can a guy come in and play on limited reps throughout the week and be prepared the way he does? And that's what he does, and that's the type of guy he is. But it's huge to have him. I mean, big time to have him. Obviously, you guys saw what he did on Sunday, so it's awesome to have him.
Shane, is there any way you can help an experienced center? We talk a lot about a quarterback. If you do have an inexperienced center, is there any way you can help him out on game days?
Yeah, that's a great question. Those are obviously talked throughout the week. Even when you have an inexperienced center, just the preparation part of it. Same thing, not getting the reps in practice, but taking the mental reps. During practice when you're not in is huge. And then just going over the film. I think playing center in this league is very similar. It's not quarterback, but there's a lot of communication that needs to be done at the line of scrimmage. So those reps for the backup center are huge.
Shane, how good was it to get that first win, and what has it been able to do for this team as you guys during practice this week and gearing up for Baltimore?
Yeah, no, it gives you momentum, obviously, getting the first one, but you got to continue to stay on the details and not think like, oh, we won, here we go, like we got to stay on it every single day because it's a long season, it's one game, and we got to get ready for Baltimore.
You and Mark Wilson were on the same staff last year in Philadelphia, and now you're head coach. He's the DB's coach for Baltimore. Do you feel like because you guys have that experience together and you went up against his guys in practice so often that you kind of have a good idea of what they're going to bring to you, or at least their corners will bring to you on Sunday?
It's a good question. I think the scheme's different. Obviously, he was around myself and the scheme we ran in Philly, but different personnel on the back end for them. They're talented back there, but Denard's a heck of a football coach. He's aggressive. He holds those guys accountable. I got a ton of respect for him as a coach.
And then just kind of talking a little bit about Gardner. You got to experience him as well in Philly, and I'm sure you guys developed a trust with each other. How have you noticed that Gardner has gained the trust of his teammates since coming to Indianapolis?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier, just the way he prepares. And when a guy prepares and gives everything he got and he goes out and has success, like he's been since he's got your OTH training camp and then do what he did in Houston, I think you earn that trust right away by your work ethic.
You just talked about the center communication and things like that. And I know Anthony only played, a quarter, but that was the first road game, Dome Stadium, all that. Just how did he kind of operate given the road game and that environment?
I thought he was great when he was in there. The communication was on point with those guys. Obviously, we got to clean up. We had some pre-snap penalties offensively, and then defensively, same thing. We got to eliminate those in a hurry. That's going to be a point of emphasis for us in practice this week.
About mental reps, what defines a good mental rep, and how do you know it's being retained? I hear that term a lot. I'm like,
yeah, no, that's a good question. I think when the players aren't in getting the mental reps, I'm staying with their coach, so they're like, all right, cool, here we go. Here's the exact play. Boom, picture it right now. Take the rep without doing it. And then sometimes you'll see quarterbacks in the back in practice, going through their drops, doing it like they're playing the game, which is huge.
You anticipate Jonathan Taylor traveling to Baltimore?
Yeah, in regards to Jonathan, just going forward, I know you guys ask about traveling and all this stuff and all those different things. I'm going to refrain from getting into any of that stuff. I know you guys have a job to do, but again, like I said, he's on PUP, and we're looking forward to getting him back.
Shane, have your, in regards to a concussion, the doctor said if you're 7 days versus 14 days, there's a big difference in re-injury, or is that not something that applies to that might apply to an ankle injury or something like that?
Yeah, obviously the concussions are a serious thing with the NFL. So again, I'm going to rely on the doctors with all that, the timetables and all those things.
You mentioned it was kind of tongue in cheek, and I took an ill-advised shot at him on accident. But he said that you told him obviously there would be no reads, when he got in there on some read plays. So
I didn't hear that.
How important is it?
Really bad.
I guess jokes aside, yeah.
We're going to run zone read like crazy.
But to have the actual time this week, obviously today in particular, to really tailor it towards him if that's the case, instead of streamlining him, like you said, we will just go in there and don't do anything too crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously he's getting the reps today, so we'll streamline it towards him today in practice.
From your perspective, Coach, you want to control so much leading up to the game time. How tough is it for you and the staff when you don't know which quarterback is going to play on the weekend to still control as much as you can, but kind of have two different possibilities?
Yeah, no doubt. You got to balance it. You got to go through the plan, get them both ready to play, and then you go from there. But there's a lot of communication, a lot of conversations with the staff and myself on how to go about it. And, yeah.